Time is 8:40. It's Wednesday morning. That means it must be time for Ask the Doc with Dr. Stone from Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital, located on Soledad Canyon, next to the Regal Cinemas. And there is also, for your West Side care and also after hours care, is All Creatures Veterinary Center, located on Lyons in the Victorian buildings between Newhall Avenue and Main Street. And that's a 24-hour operation. Dr. Stone, you still have kittens at your little veterinary clinic, right?
Yeah, we do.
Are there two of them still, or?
We actually have 3 now.
3, so someone else, they just keep coming.
Yeah, we get kittens in all the time.
So what kind do you have now?
We have 2 little black and white ones, and then a little like brown and black one who's pretty sick right now.
Oh.
But
Now, are they male, female?
1 girl, 1 boy, and the sick one's a boy.
Now, is it easy to tell when they're that little whether they're male or female? Because what seems to happen with friends of mine is they got little Precious or whatever her name is. Oh, she's so adorable, and then they don't find out till much later. Oh, Precious, we had to change his name to Pete. You know.
Yeah, that happens often.
Is there a way to? I always thought, of course, the awkward way, of course, is checking their backsides, and I thought like with boys, there's a little bump because I know it's early and they don't try to keep this clean, but they don't drop, as it were. But I think, is there not like a little bump or something that you could see?
Yeah, there usually is for males.
Okay.
It looks a little different down there.
Yeah, there we go. So, I mean, this isn't a biology lesson, but so if you're trying to check, that's really the only way, because they are too young to speak. They won't tell you whether they're a boy or a girl. And boys and girls meow the same, they purr the same, they do all that adorable little stuff the same, because that's the only way you can tell. So if you want to name them properly, and also there's not really much difference in care between males. It's like males and females that young. So
yeah,
they
it's
eat the
same.
same, nothing. But let's talk a little bit about bringing a kitten home. Let's say it's your first cat ever. What should someone prepare for when they're deciding they're going to Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital and decide, I want the cute little black and white one? What do they need to do to prepare?
Usually I always recommend if they have other cats, to make sure to keep them separate for at least a week or 2, just in case the one kitten is carrying anything, it could spread it to your cats at home. I mean, you have to think about, it's a big responsibility. They need vaccinations, and they have to get spayed and neutered, and there is a lot to go with. It's not just, I get a little cute kitten and that's it.
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
The nice thing about cats, that for the most part that I found, is they're easy to potty train, much easier than dogs.
Oh, yeah,
Usually just put them in the
are.
litter box and they kind of figure it out. Maybe scratch their little paws around a little bit at first. That's always worked for me, with rare exception. But the other thing too, because I've noticed that kittens seem to come with a lot of ailments when they're born. Is that true, or is that just kind of, it depends on?
Yeah, we do see a lot of sickness in kittens, especially if they're stray kittens and you found them. A lot of them usually have some sort of parasites, intestinal parasites, and even fleas. So that is a big thing that you do need to, take care of right away if you do find a kitten, or even get a kitten from the shelter.
Right, and worms especially seems like every kitten I've ever gotten, whether I've gotten it from like a little pet store where they used to do that out in Saugus where I used to live, they had them at this pet store. I think probably still do, I don't know. But they always seem to have worms. There's always a thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes the deal with their eyes, they get the little eye goop.
Yeah, it's very common they get upper respiratory infections, like sneezing and eye discharge.
And so the eye discharge is a really good indication that they've got some sort of maybe upper respiratory thing or something like that. And you want to take care of that as early as possible. And also making sure there is a safe place for litter, and keeping the litter box away from, if you have any dogs as well, right? Because they seem to like cat food, and we'll go from there. Mine do anyway. And so make sure they have a warm, dry place. Also try to keep them indoors, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially out here. It's pretty dangerous out here with kittens and cats, especially because there's a lot of coyotes and owls and hawks and things like that will pick up your little kittens.
Yeah,
So
don't overlook the owl. Yeah, because the owls, I mean, coyotes sometimes, depending on where you live, you might be able to keep them out with your fence or your gates or whatever. But owls and hawks, no, they don't worry about that stuff, and they will pick them. I've had friends who have said that they've. I mean, as a matter of fact, one I think picked one up. It's a terrible story. They're broadcasting it live, but just her cat was out in the middle of the street, and an owl swooped down and picked it up and then dropped it.
Yeah.
And that was it for
We've
the poor
heard
kitty,
of a
'cause it was high
lot of
enough.
stories. Even small dogs, I've heard that happens too.
So those are things. And as far as feeding kittens when you first bring them home, is there anything that we should concern themselves with, or should kitten chow or?
Usually they do. I mean, if they're ready to be away from their mother, like at 6 weeks, then usually they do pretty well on just the regular kitten kibble food. If they're younger than that, then sometimes you do have to supplement them with replacement milk, or even bottle feed them a little bit if they're really small.
Well, we're talking about kittens. There are 3 available for adoption at Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital right now. 2 little black and white ones and 1 kind of a brown one that's really sick right now. So probably that one's not quite available to take home yet.
Yeah,
right?
not yet.
Okay, so we are talking with Dr. Stone from Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital. And also don't forget on your west side, All Creatures Veterinary Center. And that's also a 24/7 operation as well for any after-hours care. Time is 8:46. We'll be back with traffic after this. And we're back with our segment, Ask the Doc with Dr. Stone with Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital, located on Soledad next to the Regal Cinemas. And we also, don't forget, for your after-hours care, or if you're on the west side of town, you can go to All Creatures Veterinary Center. They are 24/7 operation located in Newhall and Lyons Avenue. So we're talking about kittens, talking about kitten care, talking about the fact that you have 2 kittens pretty much ready to go.
Yeah.
And you still have the mama cat that's been hanging around that is probably turning into the mascot. So there is a difference, right, between adopting a kitten and an adult cat. There's pros and cons, right?
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. Kittens usually adjust pretty well to your existing animals, and sometimes adult cats aren't as friendly with your existing animals, or your existing animals won't take them in as well. I mean, that's not always necessarily true, but the one adult cat we have right now, she's not very friendly with other cats, so we're having a little bit of a hard time finding her a home. I think we're going to have to find her a home that's a one cat only home.
Right, one cat. And usually, though, once they settle in, if it is a single cat home, they can become just as affectionate depending upon their personalities, although they definitely have different personalities. I had volunteered there for a while to clean to take care of cats and clean up. You go in once a week as one of the days at a kitten or a cat adoption, and just the different personalities. And there were the marks that don't let this cat out with so and so cat because they don't like each other. And they were all adult cats. There were some that maybe like 6 months old, and the little ones were much more playful. But the adults, sometimes it just depends. But it's just like a human beings. There's someone for everybody. I think it's the same thing with animals too. And you find some people do like those kind of solitary, quiet cats that don't want to be bothered. They just want some company, but not necessarily someone's going to go up and be all about me.
Yeah, a lot of times adult cats are already potty trained, and they won't ruin your furniture, so that's really nice if you do get an adult cat.
Because kittens, they are still exploring everything. It's the most adorable thing until they get into something that you don't want them to get into, and then that always turns into a problem. Not quite as easy to discipline as dogs either sometimes. Although I've learned that male cats seem to pick up quicker than female cats. Female dogs too, but they're just a little more obstinate. They're a little more stubborn. Do you find that?
Yeah, they're a little hard-headed for sure.
They're just like, they're large and in charge usually. So as far as that goes, we're talking about vaccinations, we're talking about proper diet and making sure that you're keeping them safe. What about children when you're bringing a kitten into a home? What advice would you give for parents with children?
Usually I recommend either way, but definitely if someone comes in and they have small children, to do a fecal exam on either the cat or dog, just to ensure that they don't have any parasites, because with small children, they don't realize they can't touch certain things and then touch their mouth. Right. So there are certain things they can catch from animals. So I always do that. For the protection of children and the babies, the kittens themselves, or the animals that you're bringing into the house. Yeah. So are there any other, I know like what Dr. Merriweather, when she was on, she said that rabbits and guinea pigs don't get along. We know that dogs and cats may or may not. Kittens are usually, as long as the dog is not, an anti-cat type, person. Although they can change. I had a German Shepherd that did not like cats originally until he had one that was just brave enough to go out and smack him across the face, and they pair bonded actually. But you want to be careful with that, because that could have gone. That was a moment that was very frightening, because it could have gone either way. Unfortunately, Max, our Shepherd, was like, "Oh, okay, he's in charge." But that's the thing, kind of keeping it. But are there any natural predatory enemies that cats have, or can they ultimately learn how to get along, or at least tolerate
any other animal?
They can usually tolerate or get along with any type of animal. Of course, some people have difficulty with cats and birds. If you have birds, like we have birds at the office, and the one cat that we kind of let roam, she's always trying to get up there. And
Oh, yes. And that's also, I noticed fish, we had an aquarium, and that was our kitten had jumped up and was all pawing at the water back when we had one. So you got to be careful with that, too. Just make sure they can't get in there. And for their own safety, too, that they don't fall in or do something like that.
Yeah.
So on a scale of like easeability of having a pet, where would you find, how would a cat be between like 1 and 10?
I would say a 10. I think they're very easy. They're very independent. They don't require you to walk them, so you can leave them for a day in
As
your
long as they
apartment
have
and
food
be
and water.
okay.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the
They-
thing, if you're going on vacation, when we only had cats, we just have someone check in on them. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So there are kittens available, 2 black and white ones ready to go, plus an adult cat if you want to, if you are like a solo type of person and just want to have an adult in your cat. The adult is, and now she is, I'm trying to remember, a tabby or
She's black and white also.
black and white. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we have
she's
all
the
black and
mama.
white.
Is she the mama of the 2 babies, or are these different ones now?
These are different babies. We found homes for all of her babies, and
Okay.
then we got these 2 in, and they actually look like her. They look like her babies.
And then the little kind of brown one is one that will probably be available to you. You can always stop by
Yeah.
Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital, located on Soledad Canyon, next to Regal Cinemas, or give them a call and just find out if they're right for you. Dr. Stone, thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great week.
Thank you.